All right, let's dive into a side of blockchain you might not hear about every day. We're not talking about cryptocurrency today. We're talking about how businesses are using this tech to completely change the way they work together. And at the center of that conversation is Hyperledger Fabric.
So, when you hear the word blockchain, your mind probably jumps straight to Bitcoin or Ethereum, right? These massive public networks where anyone can join and everything's out in the open. But what if you're a business? That total transparency can be a huge problem. You need things like privacy, control, and serious speed. So, how do you get the benefits of blockchain without, showing your competitors all your cards?
Well, that's the exact problem that led to a whole different approach. We're going to move past the crypto world and into something built from the ground up, specifically for business, permissioned networks. And this quote really nails it. All those super complex, energy-hungry things like proof of work that are absolutely essential for a public network like Bitcoin, they suddenly become, well, kind of unnecessary. Why? Because in a private business network, you already know who everyone is. There's an existing layer of trust, so you can just focus on being efficient.
So, what's the secret sauce in these permissioned networks? It really just comes down to three things that businesses care a lot about: who gets in, who sees what, and how fast things get done. Here's the best way to think about it. A public blockchain is like the public internet. It's a free-for-all. A permissioned blockchain, on the other hand, is like your company's private internet. You have to be invited in. This means you know who you're dealing with, you can decide that certain data is only visible to certain people, and you can use way faster and more efficient ways to agree on things, like Raft, because you don't have to worry about anonymous bad actors. And these differences give businesses some major advantages. Just imagine a supply chain network. The supplier, the shipper, and the retailer are all on the same ledger. But you can set it up so the shipper can see the delivery details but has no idea what the retailer's final price is. That kind of fine-grained control, plus the speed boost, is what makes this a real game changer for business collaboration. So with all that context, let's finally meet the star of the show, Hyperledger Fabric. This is basically the go-to open-source toolbox for building these private, permissioned blockchain networks. Now, it's really important to get this straight. Hyperledger isn't one single blockchain. It's actually a huge umbrella project, kind of like a greenhouse, for different blockchain tools, all living under the Linux Foundation. And of all those projects, Fabric is by far the most popular and mature one out there. Fabric's true genius is its modular design. Seriously, think of it like a set of high-tech Legos. You can pick and choose the pieces you need to build the exact network you want. This is huge because it means you're not locked in. If a better way of reaching consensus comes along in a few years, you can just swap that module out without having to tear down the whole house. That kind of flexibility is why it's so perfect for big, long-term enterprise projects. Now, to really get how Fabric works, you need to know about its three main parts. First up, you have the peers. These are the workhorses of the network. Every company in the network will run their own peer nodes, and these nodes are responsible for holding a copy of the ledger and running the smart contracts, which in Fabric's world are called chain code. Okay, next we've got the orderers. So if the peers are the ones doing all the work, the ordering service is the project manager. Its only job is to take all the transactions, put them in a guaranteed chronological order, bundle them up into blocks, and then send them out to all the peers. This ensures that everybody's copy of the ledger is exactly the same. And finally, the third piece of the puzzle is the Membership Service Provider, or MSP. This is the network's bouncer, its gatekeeper. The MSP is the component that makes Fabric a truly permissioned network. It handles all the identities and issues the digital certificates that prove who you are and what you're allowed to do on the network. So, now that we've met all the key players, let's see how they all work together to actually process a transaction. This is where you can really see the unique way Fabric is built. Fabric has this really clever execute, order, validate flow. It's a four-step dance. First, your app proposes a transaction to a few specific peers, asking for their seal of approval. Second, those peers endorse it. Third, you collect those signatures and send the whole package to the ordering service. And finally, the orderer puts it in a block and sends it out to all the peers, who then double-check everything before officially adding it to their ledger. It's this separation of duties that makes Fabric so darn scalable. Okay, theory is great, but what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's walk through a super simple but really powerful example: verifying a college degree. Imagine a Fabric network where the members are universities and major employers.
When a student graduates, the university doesn't just print a fancy piece of paper. It issues their degree as a secure digital asset on the blockchain. That digital degree now lives on the shared ledger. It's an unchangeable, verifiable record, a single source of truth that proves that student earned that credential.
Okay, now let's fast forward a bit. That graduate is applying for a job. The employer, who's also a member of the network, can verify that degree is real in seconds. No more calling the registrar's office. No more waiting for transcripts to be mailed. Just a quick, private, and trusted digital handshake.
And here's the beautiful part. The trust is baked into the system itself. It doesn't rely on one central party. The network collectively guarantees the degree is authentic. If anyone ever tried to create a fake, the network would reject it instantly. And that really is the whole point. Hyperledger Fabric isn't about creating the next big digital currency. It's about building a new trust infrastructure for businesses. It's a toolkit that's modular, private, and fast, designed for how companies actually need to collaborate. So it all kind of leads to this one big question for the future, doesn't it? As all of our industries get more and more connected, could these private, permissioned blockchains like Fabric actually become the new default, the new standard for how companies trust each other and get work done? It's something to think about.